shit out of those games. But then afterwards, with the N64, I never actually owned an N64, but I think I played way more of the N64 than the other consoles because I went over to my friend's house to play, and we always played every day. Or like every other day, every weekend we played on that damn thing. So I'd probably go N64, but it's a lot more complicated than that for me.
Yep. So, to me, like you, I do have not shamelessly, I started out with Sega.
Yeah.
So my first console was actually a Sega Master System.
Okay.
Weird. I was one of those. And then I have a Genesis, which Genesis was pretty good, but I did buy eventually the Super NES, so I did become a Nintendo fan straight afterwards when I realized that Sonic is not the good game you thought it was. And then came the console that really did define my childhood was the N64.
Yeah.
I remember the Christmas day when my grandmother got me that N64, and I opened out that freaking N64, and I got Mario 64.
Oh,
put that shit into that console, and I heard Mario say, "It's a me, Mario." I was instantly hooked. And that console gets a lot of crap because there wasn't really that many games, but what it did have was treasures. And I can just tell you the hours I've spent between Mario 64, Super Smash Bros., which was late 64 to be honest, but also Ocarina of Time, Majora's Mask, Star Fox 64. The hours I just put into Star Fox 64 was friggin' amazing. So that's one definitely game that I just love talking.
I agree with the N64. Did you do like 4-player nights on the N64 or anything like that? Where you had all your buddies come out and hang out?
Oh yeah, with
GoldenEye. I spent way too much time on GoldenEye.
Yep.
Oh my god.
GoldenEye was an amazing fucking game, and it laid the groundwork for every first-person shooter nowadays.
Yeah, definitely.
Sega CD, Nick Phil, friggin' Sonic City, that was a good game. I crapped on Sonic not a few seconds ago, but Sonic City was an amazing game.
Yeah, Sonic City was good. I never played much of the Sega CDs. So.
No, not many people did.
But with the N64, it was mostly 4-player stuff for me because I went over to my friend's house to play all the time. But we'd also share games like Super Mario 64 or Blast Corps. I love the shit out of Blast Corps. There was... God, we played so many horrible friend-ruining nights of Mario Party. Oh my
Back when
God.
Mario Party was good. Or maybe we just have...
I legitimately dug a hole in my palm playing fucking Mario Party so much. We broke so many controllers just on that one game. It was fucking awful.
Nick Phil, that's true. GoldenEye does not hold well, but you have to give it to it. It was a game of its time as well.
It's true, it was. So, I think the controls don't hold up well.
The controls didn't hold up by the time. It was just horrible.
No, it was the first popular console FPS. Especially with multiplayer. I mean, you can't ask too much, I guess. And the N64 controller
I'm basing on the fact that the N64 controller was just horrible.
But
overall,
I mean, we played a lot of Mario Party. We played a lot of that. Banjo-Kazooie. Played the shit out of Banjo-Kazooie at the time. I never beat it as a kid.
Even though it was late on its life as well. Conker was a very great, funny game.
I never got to play Conker as a kid.
Good. You should.
Which you should. But I remember, let your kids play Conker.
After they watch
the Live
porn.
And Reloaded.
After they watch porn.
After they're watching porn. Yeah, on your Oculus Rift that you bought for them.
With the flashlight.
Yes. So... This podcast is going places.
I'm noticing a team.
God damn it. Yes, the N64 controller was pretty bad compared to newer controllers. I have N64 controllers fucking everywhere. So the biggest problem with this controller back in the day was this right here. This specifically.
Yep.
The analog stick was really poor. The other thing is you're expected to hold the controller like this, which you can't really do. So that you could hit both back and all the buttons. And then, how are you supposed to use the analog? So the way you're actually expected to hold it is sort of at an angle.
Yep.
With one hand underneath. And then
which
this
we
one,
had
which
the
means you can't
internet back
actually
then
use
to
these.
teach us this crap, right?
Yeah, you can't actually use the D-pad or the L or R buttons while you're doing this without moving your hands as you play. So it's, not a very ergonomic controller at all. So I'm sure this is probably partly why my wrists are so far nowadays. But that is, I mean, the controller still holds up pretty well. I still prefer to play, even on emulator, I still prefer to play the actual
Good one, Nick-Phil.
Controller. Like I have a USB controller right here, which I use for emulated games if I wanted to.
Yeah.
So I still prefer the original if I'm going to play it, just because there's a feel to it to me. That I feel like I'm playing the game, not just... Like, if I use an Xbox controller, it doesn't feel the same for me.
Yeah.
So, and that's partly due to nostalgia reasons.
Yep.
But, yeah, I mean, N64 was good. WrestleMania, I remember playing that, actually. The 2000, that was good.
Yes, it was. It was the quintessential... wrestling game or even sports game of its time.
Yeah,
it was a fantastic game, and it wasn't it that one or it was it No Mercy.
No Mercy was great.
No Mercy was fantastic.
No, I was a big wrestling nerd.
Yeah,
when I was like,
and
10.
it let you do your own characters, right? Was it No Mercy?
You could
the first time you could
customize
and create your own Mercy. God damn, I just played.
There were a couple
so
PlayStation games that did that before, but it's the first N64 one.
Yep.
So that was really cool. I think it was SmackDown vs. Raw was one of the first PlayStation ones. I think that
was
did
it?
That. Yeah,
I
think so.
Yeah, you're right. PlayStation.
But we played every wrestling game when they came out. My buddy Rocky and I. So
yeah,
literally every wrestling game when they came out.
Back when wrestling was good.
Back when it was cool in the 90s.
Yeah,
Stone
back when it
Cold,
was good.
Steve
Stone
Austin.
Cold and Rock and all those.
No, that definitely helped.
Crazy people. So,
do you think the N64 still holds up? Like, I feel like the library is actually very large for the end of the console. There's a lot of good games like Paper Mario and Banjo-Kazooie and 2E.
Yep.
And Super Mario 64 still sees tons of play. You can still go back and play Mario Party, Mario Kart.
Yep.
Like, all these games, all these franchises that have been going on for 10
years
years have started back in the N64. So
it does hold back. The N64 has a benefit that PlayStation really doesn't. And that's the fact that its power and the way it was made with these 3D games, just the graphics were a lot prettier. Maybe not comparison at the time, but I mean, go back and try to play Final Fantasy VII, and again, that game has not aged well at all.
Yeah.
And that happens with a lot of games in the PlayStation 1. It's just polygons don't age well. It's just it is something of it. But Nintendo always had this charm. I mean, you can still go back and play Ocarina of Time, and it's still a freaking beautiful game. Yes, it's old and dated, but it is a beautiful game.
The PlayStation games that hold up the best were the ones that went for the cartoony 2D sprite type of graphics, like Tomba.
Yep.
The ones that hold up the worst are like the Resident Evil and Tomb Raider. The ones that tried to go for the Tomb Raider is so hard to play nowadays. I played it.
Yeah.
And I can get used to the tank controls, but oh my god, is it bad?
It's just bad.
It's okay once you get used to it.
Yeah.
I can admit that I can still play it and enjoy the game, but oh my god.
Yeah.
So those are the games that hold up the least. The N64 didn't have a lot of that.
No.
Because they were going more for the cartoony look to begin with.
Yep.
Because that's the Nintendo look. Yep. So I feel like a lot of the N64 games held up a lot better than a lot of the earlier PlayStation games, even though PlayStation was arguably a little better at the time.
Yeah, PlayStation won that at that generation and follow up with the PlayStation 2, which was even a bigger hit. So N64 really did not win that race, but I mean, in terms of classics, you gotta hand it to it. It has a lot more classics than it does than the PlayStation itself has.
There's a lot more franchises that have stuck around since the N64.
And we didn't have...
And there's a lot more games on N64 that influenced the gaming, like, everything.
Yep. Targeting system.
Than on PlayStation.
With Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
You know, the whole camera
or even just
thing.
The Zelda 3D
with Mario,
type of game, period.
Yep. Platforming with Mario 64.
Mario 64 was the first really good 3D platformer. And it did so much correct. So, I mean, there's a lot of legacy there.
Yep.
But
that is true. Big Rocker says that the tank controls were understandably and actually good on survival horror games. Because
in a horror game, it's more...
Makes you when you freak out, you don't know what to do, and even it adds to the experience, which is it is right.
I don't think that was the intent when they made it.
Yep.
But it's a nice unintended side effect. Like Silent Hill 2, for instance. It can be really frustrating, but it also adds a lot to the suspense. Same with Resident Evil 1 and 2. Tank controls in Tomb Raider? Fucking terrible. I don't know why Tomb Raider was so popular.
Well, again, it's a product of its time. It's just... it was just good at a time. And
Tomb Raider. I actually have a Tomb Raider. So, the interesting thing about Tomb Raider, it did get a PC release, which was a lot better. But the cool thing about the PC release, and you're not going to be able to see this if you're watching on... Actually, you can see it on YouTube. Not if you're listening.
No, I don't know.
If you're listening, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But you bad boy.
Oh, yes. What?
If you ever see this on someone's wall, they are a turbo virgin.
First, don't touch it.
First, don't touch it. Second, oh my god, they are a turbo virgin.
Yeah.
That never, ever... I'll put that back in safekeeping, where no one will ever see it.
Hopefully.
Oh my god. Those big cone, 8-sided boobs. Tomb Raider.
Yeah, well, Tomb Raider, I was a fan. I'm still a fan. I mean, I can't wait for the new game to, this,
like a bit
December.
So, I think that's our thing we had prepared for the variety. If we had any questions from chat real quick you want us to answer before we move on, we'll take a little bit of time here.
Anything related to anything what we talk about, any opinions that you have on the news, on the what we talked about, what we played, or even about porn.
Well, I mean, this is just sort of a Q&A thing. So we'll add that in. Any topics you want us to discuss that we didn't talk over, and then we'll do our final highlight and closing, and we'll go out.
Yep.
So there's a little bit of a Twitch delay here.
Yep.
But we will give you guys some time.
Meanwhile, in other news, voice actors might be going on strike.
What's a voice actor?
It's a person who acts with voice.
What's a strike? Is that when you bowl?
Yeah. Also, yes.
Okay, why are the voice actors bowling?
Someone.
Are you saying the voice actors don't go bowling?
Oh, here we go. There's a good call. Parentheses. Stop.
Yeah.
BitRocker has a great question. What's our favorite PS1 and PS
or N64 game?
And or.
Favorite PS1 or N64 game? My favorite PlayStation game. It's weird. I'll have to go with what I played the most growing up, and that was actually Vigilante 8, which is like it's a knockoff. Okay, let me.
Oh, you went really obscure there.
Okay, let me throw this out there. I have to go with the one I played the most.
Okay,
right?
no, fair enough.
That's the one I played the most. So the one I played the most was Vigilante 8, which is a Twisted Metal knockoff game.
Wow.
With 70s cars and disco music.
Fantastic.
But it had destructible environments, so it was way better than Twisted Metal when it came out. So I played the crap out of that game. And it had an N64 port too, so that counts for both of those.
Okay.
Yeah. There.
That kind of shocked me. So my N64 game, I have to say, was Ocarina of Time.
Yeah.
It was a fantastic game. I played the shit. I know that game by heart. My favorite PS1 game, though, has to be Metal Gear as well. That game just blew my mind the second that freaking... Even before that, but the second Psycho Mantis comes inside games and say, you like Castlevania, don't you?
Yeah.
And stuff like that. It's like, who does that ever in a game? Right now, who does that? No one. So that will be it. Metal Gear for PlayStation 1 and N64 will be Ocarina of Time.
My N64 is probably Blast Corps as a kid.
Yeah.
I had a lot of fun with Blast Corps.
Was a great game.
Yeah. Yep. So I think that's it. We don't have any more real questions from chat, so we'll just move on to the ending here and go on from here. So each episode we try to do a game of the week. Week. That was pretty weak. That was the joke. So with the game of the week this time, we want to try and highlight a game that either we both played or retro game or something we think people should talk about or remember or maybe pick up again. In this case, it is a new game.
No, it is a new game.
So we wanted to discuss Mario Maker.
Yes. So people have not given Mario Maker enough credit for two things. Number one, it's on Wii U, and who has a Wii U? Number two, Metal Gear came out basically in the same week. So now that people have been working on that, but I assure you Mario Maker is an excellent game. I've been hooked, I've been playing non-stop, and it's just one amazing builder. So one of the things that I really do enjoy, it captures what Mario is, and that is just pure fun. And that goes not only on the platforming, but also in the building, actually, of the platforms. And it's one game that marries the two so well. It is just pure art. That game is just pure art.
So for the few people that have a Wii U,
So-
unlike Nick,
Yeah.
or you, because neither of you have a Wii. But yeah, the cool thing